Oh, good morning, guys. It's really authentic morning. Authentic bad bad life, parent life. A lot going on. A lot going on. We'll talk about. Late. The latest we ever started. 6 minutes in. No, it's not. I think we started like 15 minutes late. Which is cool. But remember, a lot of what we talk about. What are you doing? No.
Boom.
Don't do
Countdown.
that.
On 5, on 4, on
I
3.
have
Nope.
stop.
Don't
Stop
count the
it.
2
Stop.
ones.
You're being annoying. It's not the day for that.
It is. I got 2 hours late today because it's cold out.
All right. Jason has a 2-minute timer till he can come back. I need some serenity really quickly. Timer started. All right. Big day. It's not so much of a slow start today, but it's definitely a hectic start. That's okay. So this is usually what happens, and today's all about how kids are absorbing everything from us, Jason. No, just hectic. It was tough this morning. Emotions are high. Getting kids out the door. We have our usual routine, but it can fall apart sometimes. So we had to share responsibility different than we normally do as parents. But this is the thing. I think as these kids are absorbing what we do, it's how we get through certain things. I gave a little bit of a stopping short of saying the word punishment, trying to at least. But usually Sloan has a little bit of an opportunity to go play with her friends in the morning. That was removed this morning. I don't know how we all feel about that as parents. And then my youngest was giving us another hard time, and it threw everything off. So I was blessed with the opportunity to walk my youngest to daycare, which I don't normally get to do on these mornings. But it was tough. Just a normal day. Just a normal day, though, right? That's just how parents happen. What's going on with you, Jay? Do our delay?
Yeah, it's just really cold out. So, just to ground the conversation.
Wait, how cold is it for you?
It is currently -6.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cold. Okay.
It's definitely
11.
negatives right now.
Yeah.
If I'm hearing you correctly, you had a stressful morning where you felt out of sorts and you had to gather yourself a bit before you got here, a little bit. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it was, it's one of those, my family comes first. I love you guys. I want to be here, of course. But when my family has to come first, has to happen, I know we were all stressed, riding high in emotions, but it's one of those kind of things where I think making sure that we aren't, what's up, Anna? I think it's one of those things where I need to jump in where I can, because it wasn't as if it's a, hey, honey, I'll take care of this. Give me this responsibility. Hug, kiss, perfect couple. No, it's like I will do this. Just give it to me. You go do that. It's one of those mornings. You know what I mean?
I do know
But
what you mean. Yes.
yeah, it's and then, I think there's this like struggle, right? Between this is what we normally do anyway. And then certain things come out. And then this is kind of where, you know what, this is a good relationship talk. And Jason, I know we talked about maybe setting some time aside to dive deeper into relationships and marriage. And I think that would be a great thing. But how it can affect kids, I think, is kind of definitely appropriate here in the morning. But that idea of how we can't be so set in our routine, and we have to be able to kind of see where we have to kind of give a little bit. I think that's kind of important thing. I'm not saying this from an expert standpoint by any means. I'm just saying, it's one of those mornings. It's like, look, this isn't going to happen. Let's just like blow up the plan, make sure we take care of it. But, it's just amazing how resilient kids are, because, meltdown with our almost 4-year-old, complete meltdown, but then it's like you just have to have different energies from the parents at certain times. So that's kind of what today was.
Yeah, no situation is the same. I mean, there's definitely commonalities that people have for sure, but yeah, some days it just goes to some days it just goes to shit, and it makes you question everything.
Oh, for sure. Could I ask this though? Because I think this is like I'm curious what my kids would say, because this goes along with everything today with this reading. Again, Bruce Springsteen was brought back up, Jersey in the house, right? But if I had to think about today, right, in the acute and the short term, what do I think that my kids would say they learned from me today? Probably that dad was mean, um, and that he's unfair. But, it's something here where there's certain things that I think that maybe my daughter is developing, whether it's herself or picking up from friends. And, there's no fault on anybody else. It's just how things happen. But I think just in terms of like just building an attitude, building her personality. And there was something that came out this morning and I saw it and I was like, we're squashing this. This isn't going to happen. It's not going to happen there. So I think kind of putting those boundaries up is not what she would say. But I hope that what they see is, okay, dad has a breaking point. Dad has boundaries. I have to show him. And I hate this. I don't ever want to tell my kid, you have to show me respect. That's not what I want. But I definitely need my kids to know that, we're not always going to be friends. You can't look at me the same way or kind of give me the same attitude you're going to give, your kids, as especially in the morning as we're trying to get ready to go. So, but I'm hoping that is a little bit of a value, helping them understand the habits that we're trying to build here as a family. It's tough. It's just so tough right now, but it's real. It's a real world. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Do you want to go into at all what that particular situation was, or you want to kind of leave it like as that?
Oh no, good question though. No, it's just giving me a little bit more of an attitude this morning as I was just trying to kind of set boundaries around certain things. You're not going to have your usual breakfast. We didn't not have it here because we want to hurt your feelings. We just didn't have it. And then I think it came down to certain just feelings on top of feelings on top of feelings. And at some point our feelings speak louder than what the objective moment is really about. And then all of a sudden we have to kind of reset that. That's all. Just how to reset it. It's okay. It's good. No, I'm handling it fine. Everything is back to normal. Can I volley that over to you? What are we thinking about values with your kids, Jay? Values, what they're absorbing from you, a day off, well, delay rather. What are they absorbing from you on a delay as like a teacher? Anything like that?
This is one of those pages where like this is a great question for the kids to ask them when we have time. It's definitely not anger. And no, I'm not talking about you. It's Bruce Springsteen was talking about his dad and how his mom became his role model for that particular moment in time. And mornings, I mean, that's always a great discussion because that's kind of when things can really go south fast. Hang on, I got to open my doggy door and human door.
Lack of a doggy door.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is it's I think as a kid, to kind of in the same vein here as Bruce Springsteen seeing his mom do certain things, right? So like Bruce Springsteen said, he basically saw two different examples of his parents, right? A father that's kind of struggling with demons more or less, and a mom that's showing resilience and a lot of pride in her work. And so the question has to be asked, like, which example do you think had a bigger impact? And of course you're going to hope that it's going to be this resilience and the pride in mom's work and stuff like that, but personally I think the answer should be both, right? Because I know that for myself, watching my parents handle tougher situations, and especially now being a parent and being able to reflect on certain things too. I think that my dad was able to handle some situations differently. I would, if I could almost say better. I think my mom had a little bit more of a range of emotions, and especially as a parent now, I can understand those emotions as well. So there's no fault, good or bad here. It's just how it was. But, watching, I think my dad handle a tough situation when I was a kid, it did make me realize a lot of how our actions do stick with our kids. And, just like this morning, ran high, emotions, all that kind of stuff. But I'm hoping that what my kids can see is that, okay, mom and dad did not stick with their routine despite how we were feeling. They did have to, kind of jump back and forth. I definitely feel as if I have a better reaction and better resolution in a high stress environment that I do these like low level stress moments. But that's also just kind of that's a hallmark sign of someone with ADHD, by the way. So that's just kind of where I end up kind of sitting with it. But any thoughts on kind of like where you picked up how like maybe mom and dad reacted to certain situations?
My thoughts go more towards how I think mom and dad they operate a bit more independently, I think, than maybe me and Kristen do. Like I think that's something that me and Kristen really do well is if we're kind of struggling a little bit, I think we're pretty good at being open about that. Like, remember, it was a few months ago we talked about how like one way to communicate that is like, hey, today I'm like at 60%, something like that, and
Love
like
it.
and like
Brene
maybe
Brown across the board.
yeah.
It's what she
So
always
so
says.
like we do that in different ways. To the point where it's really easy to pick up on each other's feelings. It's like, oh, okay, Kristen's feeling a bit down today, so I'll do this and stuff like that. And those are the good times, but there's also other times where like for whatever reasons we're both kind of in our own heads and not communicating.
Do you think your kids are picking up on this?
That's what I would love to hear from the kids. Like Kira and Junie, they seem to pick up on it, and I've asked them that before. Where, and I think this is a great idea for like anybody listening. Is like if you have some time with your kid, just be like, "Hey, what habits do you notice that I have?" Or like, "What's a habit that you picked up from me?" Or "What's a bad habit?" And that's been a really good discussion between me and especially Kira because we drive home most days.
Mm-hmm.
So
We actually did
our
this.
discussion. Go
We
on.
did this as a group, actually. We because I have these like question and reflection cards, so it's really great. And I usually pull one out and I put it up on the wall in the morning. And then when Sloane's friends come to pick her up in the morning here in the building, I always ask them. I'll obviously ask my kids too. But one of the great questions was, "What do you wish Daddy did different?" Neither good nor
Yeah,
bad,
also
right?
a
It
good
was good.
question.
Yeah.
Those
And so
are
it's just
like
making
these
me
are the
think about that.
these are the questions that would have been interesting to answer as a kid. Like I think I definitely picked up like dad's demeanor and calmness.
Mm-hmm.
I think I picked up mom's uh definitely like creativity. Like, that's where that all came from. Um
Mm-hmm.
and like the just kind of random interest in things like look around my studio and I have a lot of things that I don't use very much, but they're
Mm-hmm.
always there, right? Like they're always there in case I want to use it. And that's something that Kristen doesn't have because like Kristen, I think Kristen's dad was a lot more I don't know, maybe like didn't say hang on to things as much as like we did, I guess.
He's an
Uh,
accountant, right?
no, he's in commercial real estate, I think. Or
Oh,
no,
got it. Okay.
maybe regular real estate. Um,
Got it.
but I'm trying to remember what Kira said about what habits she picks up from us, and I'm having a hard time remembering it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Dom.
Good morning, boys.
Don, what's happening, man? So nice to see you
Thanks.
popping in. You mentioned traffic.
Just coming to say hi. I've been
Well,
listening.
hello. Always appreciate you listening.
It took me a while to figure it. It took me a while to figure out where you were, but I think it was just because you're a little delayed.
No, definitely delayed. It was a good morning though, because I actually have to leave a little bit early too. It's just a busy day altogether. But Jason, you're thinking that Kristen's upbringing, dad in particular, is what you're saying, just different
Well,
than how we're looking at.
I think me and Kristen's upbringings come out in different ways.
Yeah.
But we've figured out how to kind of make them work together. It's like they're not like totally different, and it's not like one's super negative, one's super positive.
Yeah.
I think we both bring. I think anybody brings both the good things and whatever traumas from their childhood into their parenting for sure.
You know, I think this is the biggest thing. The biggest thought is that, you know, we are passing on these things to our kids unintentionally, right, through these actions. And so I think some of the biggest actions are kind of like, you know, 'cause kids are so they're so plastic right now, their heads, you know, their thoughts, their feelings. And so just watching how, you know, these small moments end up being taken care of. The height of emotion, what does this mean? But then, you know, my thought always goes to resolution. You know, the one thing that I want my kids to be like dad will be angry, dad will be upset, dad will be emotional, but whatever happens, like, you know, we always end up talking about it and there's going to be some sort of resolution, because on the front end with all that emotion, I'm like, if it happens, it happens. Obviously there's things within it that have to be kind of taken, you know, can't be taken lightly rather. But I do want to make sure that, you know, any of the struggles that I have with emotions or whatever else is going on, that doesn't like leave this imprint. Just like Bruce Springsteen, right? He was kind of mentioning his dad's struggles kind of left an imprint somewhere, and that his mom's strength kind of helped, you know, balance out what he was seeing. But you know what? We're not going to be perfect. And so it's good. I think, you know, I'm hoping that there's a lot that Lauren can do that kind of balances out a lot of that stuff for myself. But and I think looking into ourself as like the only solution isn't going to be the way to do it.
Yeah,
we got to come together on it. So it's always good. Dom, do you feel like you guys are there small, influential values, actions, unintentional ones that your kids are picking up from you?
Oh yeah, of course. I heard what you're going through today, and it's, you know, it's a situation that I think parents find themselves in often. You know, I mean, the days are never the same. The kids never wake up the same way, and you know, adults, we never wake up the same way either. Sometimes, you know, my wife's super low energy, and I'm super high energy in the morning, so like our vibes aren't right. You know, sometimes the kids will just wake up and just not want to go to school, not want to put their shoes on, and just be
What's up,
in that,
Adrian?
like, yeah, you can get me to school if you can drag me there. You know, and you just got to kind of calm yourself down as much as you can, and that's definitely something that I've been working on a lot. But yeah, it's I'm sure they're picking up all kinds of stuff from me and my wife.
They definitely are. They definitely are. I even,
I
you know
want
what?
to give a little shout out to my friend Adrian jumping in, also a super dad. Good morning, Adrian.
What's up, Adrian? Adrian, feel free to be an observer. I love observers. We're all observers in a lot of things. But if there's something you feel like your kids are picking up from you, where either you have a strength, or maybe where you feel like maybe your significant other, if that's in your world, is kind of balancing you out, let us know. I was thinking a little bit about here with, I always kind of think, because I like to bucket things in my head, and I think about these like actionable steps, 1, 2, 3, what can we definitely do? And again, I'm big on the resolution side, because, you know, we can't always control what's going to happen in the moment. Things can definitely get heightened, whatever it is. But, you know, if I had to think about 2 things that maybe we're doing right now, or that we can maybe continue doing, or even focus on more, I think starting at least some sort of ritual which could be, family tradition, whatever it is. And I've said this before, like 7 o'clock, I've been trying to kind of, and it's been working really well lately, but 7 o'clock, we're doing game time. It's like, even if you have 3 minutes, we're going to do one round of something simple. Uno, we have this piggy game, which has been really cool too for the kids. But that ritual of kind of like having that time together to open up the floor to bring something up at least, or spend some time together, because regardless of how we felt about each other all today, at least we came together, and we can definitely end up like being in the same space. And then, maybe sharing one positive thing about what was going on in the day, to kind of get away from those negative things. That's like one thing. I think the other one is just, making sure that we take that time too, that we've opened up with game time, right? Sharing a positive thing. But the second thing would be, I think, acknowledging mistakes, right? Openly in front of the kids, I think is always important. I never want my kids to think daddy thought he was perfect or daddy was perfect, right? I love pointing out mistakes. I'm like, wow, I'm an idiot. Look at this. And so, if I spilled something or whatever, I love to call it out. But I think making sure that we kind of explain how we're working to improve certain things, I think is definitely an important thing. So
I think having your kids hearing that you apologize is important. Which I've done probably like once a week, where I apologize for something, whether it's like, for example, my oldest she'll kind of like, she's starting to get in that middle school frame of mind where, kind of dragging a bit in the morning. And at first we were getting to the point where we were late because she was taking her time, and we were all in the car. And then the other girls were getting kind of stressy because of it. It's like, oh, dad lost his wallet again. So I had to go in the house, running around the house for like 3 or 4 minutes, trying to find it. And then now we're late because of me all of a sudden. So that was my apology last Thursday.
Awesome. It's important. Hey, can I know, come in late, have to leave. I have to jump just for some clients right now. It's an early part of the morning. You guys are more than welcome to close it out. But I'm going to leave the studio. I love you both. You both are gorgeous men with so much to offer the world. And I hope you both have a great day. All right. Love you guys.
Thank
you, buddy.
So this is always something that I think this would be kind of hilarious and cool to share out. If we were to take one of these questions that we have in the reading and actually like write down what our kids' answers are and share that, I feel like that would be a good discussion.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, you got a delayed start, or your kids in the house still? You can go ask them and report back.
I could.
I'll have to text my kids because I left. They're all asleep, and I'm gone for at least 2 days at work. So I will text my older kids and ask them a question.
Hang on a second.
He's like, let me just grab a kid now. I didn't do the reading, so I've been literally woke up, packed up, jumped in the car, and
I did the reading 5 minutes before I got on. I set my alarm for 4:15 this morning. I got up and woke up at 6:22.
Oh wow! Okay.
Time, Dom. Where does time go?
Yeah.
And I got a good sleep. I went to bed at like 8:30 last night.
Oh, that's wild.
Because it's like my intention was I was going to wake up. I was going to go to the gym, but it was really cold out, and why the heck would I leave the house? Junie, come here. I've got a question.
So it wasn't just the school that was a delayed start. It was you.
Junie, we got a question for you. This is what we're talking about. Can you say hi to Dom?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Junie, what is a good or bad habit that you picked up from mom and dad? Or one of each. It's up to you. For example, what time do you normally wake up in the morning? 6. Is that a habit that you picked up from me, or is that a habit that you made yourself?
Myself.
Okay. So she fostered good habits, but I'm still going to take credit for it. Um, uh, what might be a not so good habit that you picked up from mom and dad?
Probably being on the screen.
Being on screens. Yeah.
Screen time. Yep.
I would
Your
always
dad.
love to be on it less. It's so everywhere. And how many times during the day do I tell you to get off the iPad?
Like 3 or
Three?
like 10.
3 or 10 maybe. Yeah.
Well, probably 4.
4 or 5 maybe. One of the things is like screens are going to be around, right? But it's
Yeah.
like sometimes when I'm really focused, I'm like, I want you to set a time for yourself to get off the iPad. It rarely works, but
Yeah.
like give yourself an hour. Set a time limit for an hour. Okay,
Yep.
Judy's done. I'm really surprised she actually stayed on the camera.
That's how it works. I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, can we just do an hour? And then just go I'll give you an hour of screen time if you just go do 10 minutes of not screen time.
The
Yeah.
ratio just, it sounds ridiculous for me to have to say that. Like you give me $60 and I'll give you $10. Like if you put it in any other terms, like but they're like, no, like it doesn't happen, or they don't want to do it, or it's too much of a struggle, or and they're like, I'm not in a good spot to stop, and I'm like, yeah, because you're playing Roblox. Like the game doesn't stop. Like you just
Yeah, and there's
That's
no
not
save
the
point.
excuse.
Like
It's
when I
not
was
like
growing
you're
up,
yeah.
when we were going, it was like, hey, I just got to find a save point
Yeah, but there
on
was usually a
PlayStation
save
once.
point, or it was like TV shows. It's like, okay, well, after this episode, I'll get off, and then the episode would end, or a commercial break would happen, or and you get off. And nowadays, it's like, no, just another YouTube video just starts.
Yeah, it's a constant feed. I think one thing that I hope the kids pick up that they probably don't even realize we're in now is like, since we're talking about mornings, I feel like the only time they're going to notice that, or when it might hit really big, is like whenever our life situation changes, where either they're out of the house or maybe they're at a friend's house and like seeing how they do things different. It's like, oh yeah, we had a routine, and that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's going to be the point for them when they realize. I think it was for me. Is like when like the first. I remember the first few mornings I woke up at a place I was living at by myself. It was like, oh, I can do whatever I want, and I have no idea what to do.
Oh, I don't think I ever had that, because I went from my parents' house to college, and when I was in college, I was joined the what was it, the Air Force ROTC. So it was still like wake up early, get dressed this way, do that, classes, all that stuff. So
Yeah,
I think it was probably after college that I first had that. But yeah,
and I guess that might extend to like bedtime. It's like we're still in like the tuck-in time, where like the two like my 5-year-old, my 9-year-old, there's a thing. There's like it's either we're reading or they get a back scratch, and like Kira's kind of breaking out where it's like she's no longer asking for anything, but it's like when I suggest, hey, you want to play cards for a few minutes, it's like she'll jump on it.
yeah,
But it's that's kind of a transition that I'm probably not going to realize is gone until we haven't done it in a while, and she's now doing it herself, and
probably something you guys
eventually
can
she's going to be
find together.
yeah, eventually it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be to the point where it's like, oh, she's asleep in bed and we didn't say goodnight.
Yeah, yeah, pass out early. It'll be like you go in there and you be like, you get share TikToks with each other. That's what me and my 16-year-old do sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we're not
Go
there
in there.
yet. We'll probably
Did you
get
see
there.
this?
sure.
Did you see this funny video and then chat about it for a little bit? I like to just come in for I've been doing that ever since Ryan's been big on the last 3 minutes of the day. I've been trying to go in there and spend a couple minutes with each of my kids.
Yeah, I
It's been
feel like
very
I'm
helpful.
I
I
feel like
enjoy
I'm
it.
good at that. My youngest has been asking for nighttime tickles. We watched Big Daddy with Mark Wahlberg and the other guy,
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, and there was like a night like a tuck-in tickle. So she wants those now, and it's like, okay, let's get you riled up before you try to fall asleep.
Yeah, right. Let's just expend that last little bit of energy that you have.
So those are the things that I hope they remember when they are older is how do I tuck in my kids?
Yeah,
So,
as they're off and no one's tucking them in. Yeah,
mhm.
100%. You just give you like a little. It would be a lovely thing to have them go off and then still hit you with a good night, dad.
Yeah.
But that's where the relationship would change. You would just be doing that. You'd send them a good night, daughter message.
Good night text from the next room over.
No, I mean when they move out. I was
That,
fast
yeah.
forwarding to the further part, like how you keep the relationship beyond when they're out of your house. That's what I was getting at.
Well, any
All right,
last
man.
thought?
No, not really. Like I said, I had a weird day. I know you're on a delay day too, but it was a weird week. Taking, Mondays off are always strange for me. They always put me in a funk. So
Yeah, I don't know if it's a funk. Definitely a weird feeling though. But
yeah. So
gonna be a weird week anyway. Got some weird
yeah.
things. Got some one-off situations happening. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, have a good day. I'm glad I could log on and see you guys and hang out for a minute. And we will get on with our lives.
yeah.
And see you tomorrow.
Good luck working through the funk.
Yeah, you too. Later.
See ya.